Hello student, good afternoon. Today we will start the types of blastulae. Types of blastulae. First, there are following three hypotheses regarding the origin of primary hypoblast in cheek. Number one, delamination. Delamination. The cells of germinal disc or blastodisc delaminate to form the hypoblast. The process of delamination occurs by the splitting of the cells. Splitting of the cells. Splitting of the cells of blastoderm into two separate layers, the upper epiblast and lower hypoblast. The space between them is the blastocele. Second number, involution. Involution. According to this view, the hypoblast is formed by the involution of cells of the posterior portion of blastodisc. The involution is actually the folding of the layer under the itself, thereby forming a new layer beneath the original one. Third number, infiltration or polyingration. Infiltration or polyingration. According to this view, the individual cells of the blastodisc shed detach from the original blastoderm. The shed cells fuse to form a thin but distinct hypoblast on the yolk surface. Blastulation in a centrolicital egg. The centrolicital egg of the insect, which has superficial cleavage, any cavity comparable to the blastocele does not form. However, the formation of epithelium on the surface of the egg after the nuclei have migrated to the exterior can be compared to the formation of the blastula. The layer of the cells thus formed on the surface of the embryo is the blastoderm. Instead of the surrounding the cavity to blastoderm envelop the mass of uncleaved yolk. Types of blastulae. Types of blastulae. Types of blastulae. Following types of blastulae have been recognized in different animal groups. First number, blastulae, that is amphiblastula. Such a blastula is formed of two types of structurally different blastomeres. As for example, in cycon, the anterior half of blastula is formed of flagellated cells, while the posterior half is formed of large rounded granular cells. In amphibians, blastula contains two types of cells, micromeres and macromeres. Second number, stereoblastula. Stereoblastula. In many spirally cleaving egg of annelids, mollusks, nematodes, and some of the planarians, no blastocelic cavity appears in the blastula. No cavity appears in the blastula. In them, the smaller micromeres accumulates as a cluster of cells over the larger vegetally placed macromeres at the end of cleavage. This results in a solid blastula known as a stereoblastula. Third number, periblastula or superficial blastula. The superficial cleaving eggs of insects producing a periblastula without a blastocele cavity. nuclei collect in the peripheral layer. In a sense, a cavity is present but filled with the yolk from the beginning of cleavage. Fourth number, blastulae, coeloblastula. What is meant by coeloblastula? The blastula of echinoderms and amphioxus. Echinoderms and amphioxus is called coeloblastula. It is in the form of hollow sphere. The blastocele is filled with mucopolysaccharides. Blastocele cavity is filled with the mucopolysaccharides, and the blastoderm is formed of a single layer of cells. Fifth number, discoblastula. It is found in reptiles, birds and fishes which have large yolky egg. It is called discoblastula because it appears at the animal pole as a small multi-layered flat disc separated from the yolk by the narrow segmentation of subgerminal cavity. Sixth number, blastocyst. Such a blastula is found in the mammals. Blastula formation in the mammalian embryogenesis is quite distinctive. Cleavage is regular and a small cavity appears inside the dividing cells. The cavity is called blastocele and becomes progressively larger. The clusters of cells differentiates into two distinct groups: an epithelium-like layer of the trophoblast cells or nutritive cells surrounding the expanding cavity, and an inner cell mass of the formative cells of embryo, which are displaced to one pole of the sphere. Through mammalian eggs have no yolk, they form a discoidal blastula. Just as in the chick embryo, the inner cell mass spreads inside the cavity as a flat disc resembling the chick blastoderm. This stage of mammalian development is known as the blastocyst, and it is at this stage that the embryo implant into the uterine wall. Okay, thank you.